All right, I'm gonna call to order the meeting of Administration and Legal Affairs Committee, Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 at 5 p.m. 2.0 prayer. Would anybody like to do that? If not, I will.
I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another opportunity to gather together and to handle the county's business. We just pray that you give us wisdom and guidance, Lord, as we go through each and every agenda item, and that you just continue to lead us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, thank you. 3.0 approval of agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
And a second. Conversation, otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. 4.0 approval of meeting minutes from May 7th, 2025 meeting. Move approval. Second. In a second, okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, 5.0 approval of claims. Before me, I have $137,544.09. Yeah, all that in your packet, so.
Gonna make a motion to approve.
All right,
Second.
all right. All those in favor say aye. Okay. 6.0 public comments. There's nobody else here. So we will go on to 7.0 departmental reports, 7.1 county treasurer. She's not able to make it, but she did send her reports. See if I can grab that quick. Couple highlights. Let's see, as of May 31st, total county funds were down 941,491, which is 3.42% compared to April 30th. That's probably normal with looking because of the and she had 5 investments that matured. She keeps rolling those over, so she's doing a great job with that. At month end, the total value of invested funds was $12,970,997. If I can say it right. They are right in the middle of the property tax collection. First installment due on June 27th. Last month, 25,758 tax bills were mailed. So 91,099,872 across more than 100 districts. As of June 10th, 14,700,000 in payments have been collected. What else is important here? We remain on track for the first distribution scheduled for July 11th. And then lastly, she is pleased to share that the public feedback and commentary has been significantly more respectful this year, perhaps due in part to the posted no tolerance language. And I just hit the button and it moved on me. So sounds like that is going well as planned. So any comments? Sure.
Yeah, I just want to bring up, I was down in Champaign over the weekend for Leadership Academy, and our treasurer was selected to give a presentation. I think not only should be worth noting that it seemed very well received. Talking with some of the participants afterwards, they were very appreciative of the details and a lot of things they didn't know, even folks that have been with their affiliated county for a number of years. But again, anytime we from Stephenson County can show ourselves on the state's stage, speaks well of us and the work we're doing. So I wanted to bring that up for the good of the committee.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a question on the real estate tax bill, and I don't know who to address that to.
I can copy it.
Because, and I'm not trying to be real negative here, but I'm going to be a little bit, because the tax bill is very misleading. When you look at the tax bill, unless you sit down and do the math, it looks like the state multiplier didn't affect your taxes at all. And you have to do the math to find out what that number is. It's nowhere on the tax bill.
Well,
Nowhere.
it's not clear of how it's figured on it, because it only applies to your land and your house. So if you have farmland or farm buildings, it does not apply to it, correct? Correct, and then the Department of Revenue, I think you and I, Steve, you and I figured that it is, the figure already is on there, but then that's the only place really to post it, so the.
There's
department-
no there's the figure of the
The
1.65%,
Yes, yes,
but there's nowhere that, unless you, like, for example, you're right, in the country,
Yep.
air land,
yep, nothing,
nothing.
Yep.
But now if I go in here on a piece of property that has land and a house
mhm,
and farm buildings,
mhm,
you have to do a lot of calculation
You do.
to know what that free money is that Stephenson County got.
Yep.
Next question is, how do I explain the reason that we have to be charged 1.65%
okay, so,
in ways that
I will.
normal people can understand?
I will.
Because I understand it. but-
right, so Freeport was revalued this year. And there was a multiplier, a county multiplier that was put on.
Why?
Because the townships as a whole were under the 33 1/3 market value. So I figured the multiplier. I tried to do the least amount of multiplier that I could not, or I could do. So it wouldn't hurt the taxpayers. I didn't do enough because the sales are going that rapid and that big of a difference. Like there's a lot of houses that have sold in 2022. Let's just say for $100,000. Then they're selling them maybe 6 months, a year later for $100,000 more than what they bought it for, which might be $50,000 more than what we have it assessed at. So between the tentative multiplier and the final multiplier, we as a whole, Stephenson County didn't pick up enough tax dollars to make the county figure between 31% and 35%.
But we've been recognized as having one of the highest multipliers in the state this year.
For the state multiplier,
No, yeah, for the 1.65%.
Ogle had a bigger one. They had a state multiplier. And Cook County just had a 3.5.
wouldn't ever-
I know, but we're not the highest one in the state. Those are the only two I just know off the top of my head. But
Because it's hard to get people to understand,
I get it,
who says it has to be at 33%?
the state.
And so no matter what, that means then that we as a county now, we collect 1.6% more to pay expensive deputies to work 36 hours. These are things I hear. That's free income to the county. Where does that go into the general fund?
No, it goes to all the taxing districts too. It's not just to the county.
But they already put out their levy. So where does it go?
For us, it goes in the general fund.
So there's a lot of questions in the public as to that amount, and then that it's not very easy to find that number when you've been charged additional, right? Without doing, they need to come up with if it's gonna show at times 1.65%, then how come it doesn't put a number there so you can see that it adds it in? That's really confusing.
So if I could, after Monday's meeting, I actually asked the treasurer that question, and that's just the format of the bill that this billing company uses, and she agreed that it wasn't very transparent, I guess, because it doesn't do the calculation itself.
Right.
So, far be it for me to tell an elected official what to do, especially one that lives with me. But that is something that she's aware of as well, that the billing is not necessarily that structure the most ideal. So I don't know if that means that there's other options out there for the bills to look differently or not.
My hope is that Stephanie never has to do it again.
Never has to what?
But I hope to never, my goal is to never have a state multiplier.
We can't stop
That's
inflation.
either, right?
Well, can you change the format of the bill?
Yeah, you can,
I'm assuming you can get different types of bills. Sure, there's only one or two companies that do it,
I think so.
This couple.
But this is the same bill format that you've had for what, at least 2 years?
Oh, quite a few years.
Yeah, quite a few.
Probably 5, 6 at least. It's, that's the
I'm not asking for any
only
question,
thing
because-
that throws it off. You're right, with the state multiplier, that the format is, if we have a one for the rest of Stephanie's in my career, then we don't do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, let's go on to 7.2 county clerk.
Thank you, Chairman. The claims were a little bit higher, this month for our office based on, it's the end of the grant cycle. So the grids for the polling place accessibility, the locations within the counties, the rest of those have been submitted, as well as the purge. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But the purge grant, is also submitted in there, so we will be reimbursed for, many of the claims in there.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yes, Chair.
Can I ask a question about this
Yeah.
one? So some of those, there's one that's 50-some thousand. So at what point do we get reimbursed for that? When will those grant dollars come in?
So I submitted it to the state. I have to show proof of the check, and then they have been reimbursing them pretty fast, within 60 days ultimately. So some that I submitted last month, I've already got some checks this week.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
It's been a pretty quick turnaround, surprising.
Okay. Anything
So,
else?
yeah, so you'll see a claim in there for 22,000, that's the purge, so, on Friday, voter cards will be going out to all registered voters in Stephenson County. The purge is supposed to happen every 2 years, in the odd year after the consolidated election. So that will be part of cleaning the voter rolls up. That voter card will go out, and then if it comes back undeliverable, there's a process that we do where we can send a portable card to that voter, and it can go to if they have moved. I guess one hiccup that I've been trying to address before that purge drop happens is with the post office. When someone updates their address or their name anywhere or becomes a new voter, they get a voter registration card. And we usually do those every couple of weeks, so 100, 200 go out. And the last one we did, we had maybe 30 come back out of those couple hundred that said no such street, no such number. And then we did a double check on our end and pulled the tax bill and confirmed that is such street, that is such number. So talked to Freeport, I talked to Midwest Mailworks, so I am now talking to the manager of customer relations for District 1, hopefully to get that addressed, because one,
That's too bad.
it's a cost, but two, we can't have that happening.
Yeah, it's too many years.
Yeah.
Do you know where other counties experiencing that? You may not know yet, but that seems like an odd thing to be just this localized.
So when we had done the bridge last time, it seemed like it was just a Stephenson County issue. And then when I went over and talked to Freeport twice, and they said that those stickers are not even being put on here in Freeport. It's happening elsewhere. So Midwest Mailworks, they pick up our mail and then they take it and drop it off at the Rockford location. I tried calling the Rockford location, wasn't able to get a hold of anyone, so then I reached out to the district manager to have more oversight on it. So I'm gonna let them know. They said, let me know when you drop these in the mail, where at approximately what time.
Okay. Good job on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things we gotta get fixed, and
Yes,
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Related, were the ones that were in error, were they scattered? Were they from like one specific area in the county? I mean, was it a common formatting thing?
most of them are Freeport, so I had talked to Freeport.
Right.
There was one from Davis, so I talked to, I was able to get in contact with Davis, and she said before she would send any back on return, she would call our office. So it's not always easy to get a hold of the post offices, but the ones in Stephenson County have been very responsive.
Is that, if they're all from like
Yeah,
one neighborhood, maybe it's a commonality.
Yeah, so I think having oversight at the district level will help us. And then, part of the purge, we'll be able to get our voter roll cleaned up a little bit because people will be asking for a walk list here soon. Petition circulation will begin August 5th.
Never ending elections.
You guys have any questions?
Thank you. Good
Thank
job with that, yeah. Let's go with 7.3 supervisor assessments.
The first thing that I want to address is, the same thing Jasmine did. I had extra claims this month, because our building, lease is up in May. So then in April, they, do last year's, what's it called? Georgia, help me with the,
So just to clarify, our lease isn't up, it's just
Our
the annual, they call
renewal.
it CAM, which is the community area maintenance costs that are associated. They reevaluate that based on previous year's costs, and then we get the new amount for that in April or May, so you've got a little bit of catch up
yeah.
to do, sorry.
No, that's what, so there was 2 months worth of it and then the camp, so that's why there was 3 bills for the rent. So, and also piggybacking on Jasmine's thing, the post office seems to be a little more finicky. I've been doing the address changes and different things for the tax bills since I've started and stuff like that. So it seems like, you know, they want like an address. We had one that came back, a tax bill, and the post office wanted us to spell out route instead of RTE or, you know, whatever. So that is part of it. Sometimes you just need to find the little niche or whatever that they want. Scott can probably contest to this. Cedarville's a little finicky too. You've got a post office and it's Cedarville, and you've got a street address and it's Freeport, even though it's in the same.
It's Freeport and Cedarville if you have an actual box in front of your house.
Right.
So if somebody sends me mail to my post office box and gets the address on it, I get a nasty sticky note on my
You
head.
do,
Please contact them and update your address.
you do, yes, yes, yes.
Same thing in German Valley.
Yes.
Probably the same lady.
Somebody knows the lady from.
Because we go to the post office to get our mail.
We have dealt,
Can't defend her.
I know, we have dealt with her, so she takes her job very seriously.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So anyway, on those 2 notes, the other 2 notes, obviously, as Steve pointed out and stuff like that, I've been answering a lot of questions, a lot of questions. People, for the most part, like Stephanie said in her report, have been actually very pleasant. I have not been sworn at this year. I was only hung up on twice. No real negative comments. Obviously, nobody's really happy, but they do understand that the value has gone up and the explanation of things, so.
And I do have to say that I called Angie, she was right on top of that, she knew what question I was gonna ask. I talked to her at the office.
You didn't hang up on her.
I didn't hang up on her
Good night,
either.
with you. The person that I think they did end up calling back and just said, you know, they were having a bad time and whatever. There was a couple people that, you know, just, you had to listen and stuff like that. In the end, there was a very, very, very sweet lady on High Street that she thanked me profusely, that she just needed someone to vent because it was like the last little straw. She had some other personal things and stuff like that. So she was very appreciative. And I think that's what some people just need. And that is my favorite part of my job, is to be there to listen and to educate people, because like I've told a bunch of people, I did make the system. I'm not disagreeing that the system is broke. They are, in all seriousness, they do have 2 committees. They too look at the whole system from the assessments to the collecting of the taxes or whatever. Now, we all know how fast it'll be. I don't know if anybody of us will see the changes, but at least they have recognized that the system is broken.
I don't think there was anything that last budget to.
Oh, no.
Any changes.
Oh, no, because the budget and the transit system took over the majority of anything that was passed, so no, nothing was passed. But, so that's been the last month or so from my office. Oh, I did not obviously pass out from my presentation. I was very nervous, I'm not even gonna lie. I made it through. There were quite a few people that have contacted me for some more questions and things like that, because there are quite a few of the positions being open and stuff like that. So it's not a real sought after position. So I think we'll have to fill a few more of them, so.
Okay. I wasn't gonna bring it up. Thank you. Good job.
It went
Good
well,
job
I
for
think.
going at that. So,
Thank you.
yeah. All right, any question more? Okay, we'll move on to 7.4 county administrator.
Thanks. Working on some department head contracts. The one for the zoning and building director will be before the board. Next week, it passed out of committee this week. Sat down with the EMA director. We'll have to do something with his by October, so expect that draft in the next month or two coming through his committee. Mark Bell from IPMG was on site on May 22nd. And Ms. Henning and I took him to all of the public outdoor properties that the county owns. Once every 5 years, we have to do a full appraisal and assessment of every property owned, and every 3 years, they do a full walkthrough. So he was doing both of them, and including a risk evaluation with each one. So we did all those outdoor properties then. He sent a detailed report, that Mr. Rummers has for things that need to be adjusted, the landings at Chem Monument, and those outdoor public spaces. June 3rd, he returned and he and I did a walkthrough of all the properties at the nursing center, the outbuildings, the health department, the highway department, and all of the outbuildings on Lamb Road and behind the highway department. He has not sent the write-up and formal summary yet, and he is returning on the 25th, and we will walk the 3 sheriff's buildings. So it's a process, but it's really good. He, with having the background in risk, he's, you know, pointing out some things to the department heads as we go that can get fixed right on the spot. So it's been a little time consuming, but good. Facilities maintenance, thanks to Sheriff Stovall, the truck that he has provided for Wally has been, the license have been changed over. Covered trailer has been purchased, the mower has been picked up, and he was off and mowing solar field this afternoon. So we will have it labeled next week, and that he is up and running. So
It does have the 5-year warranty like we were
yes, it does have the
talking
full
about last
5-year
meeting, so
warranty. Yes,
we're all good there.
that was verified. Thank you for bringing
I
that
think it
up.
was 3 we ended up with, but it was 5 actually, so we're all good.
Yes.
Okay.
Chairman Holmes, Ms. Henning and I met to go over the items that were identified in the walkthroughs, and that information has been given to Wally, so he's set up to work on those things. Budget policy, the proposed changes were discussed at the department head meeting this morning. There was little conversation about it, so I think we've addressed everything that was a concern then. The next Greater Fupa Partnership meeting is the 25th, and Chairman Holmes and I did meet with Andrea Schultz-Winners on Friday, June 6th. We were kind of given more detail about the things that were presented at PMD on Monday. So yesterday, Chairman Holmes and I met with a few members of the YMCA board. to discuss their proposals and their future plans for their organization and how it can impact the county and the community, so. And it feels like the county as a whole has had quite a few FOIAs lately, so that's been,
Yes.
there's been quite a few, so, but. Carl, well, we did have one that Angie got. Carl was quick to give some findings and some follow-up questions on that, so we'll hopefully get that one answered here shortly, but there's been quite a few coming through.
Well, work. Questions? Otherwise, we'll keep going here. 7.5 IT managers.
Good evening, everyone. We're in the home stretch of the AOIC technology grant. You guys will all be shocked, amazed, and whatever else next week. We have a new system in the county boardroom, that new wireless microphone system. You will be able to vote from your microphones now, and it'll all display up on the screen. So I was gonna talk with the chairman. I think I'm gonna send out an email and request to see if everybody can be there by 6 to kind of do a quick overview of what we're gonna have going on that day, just so you're not completely caught off guard. But yeah, it's a very nice system, very state of the art. I've spent the last week or so configuring all the screens to be optimal for how we're gonna use it. And I'm gonna be at county board meeting by myself tomorrow for a few hours. I just want to see how everything's gonna go and, vote from all the microphones and just see how it all.
Do you want an audience to?
I don't. I gotta be out of there by noon because they have a court in there tomorrow after, but, so, I'll be doing a run through of that, but, the microphone issue of not being on or off should be taken care of. I will go back to controlling the mics. With this new system, you will hit the button to request to talk like you did before. Everything happens right on the microphone, so it's pretty nice setup. So be prepared for that.
And
Just so that's done.
when your microphone is live, it has a green light on it, so
On
that's
the
good.
actual part
On
you
the actual
speak
part
into.
you're talking into, so you'll be able to know if it's live
You'll know if
before
it's
you
on.
start talking.
That's a good thing for me.
And
It's
when
a good
you
thing for everybody.
when you request to talk, it'll be red, waiting for your turn. And then I'm not saying the first meeting's gonna go perfect. Obviously, there might be some hiccups, but it's a very nice system. So we will unfortunately keep adding stuff that gives me more responsibility, but we'll see how it goes. The next big project from there will probably be the phones being rolled out countywide. We're at about 95% in the config on that. This takes a little more meticulous planning. You can't just, we don't want to rush it because you can put in a bunch of phones that don't work correctly, or, it could cause countywide issues. So we got about another 5% in the config, and then we'll probably do it on a department level, a little bit at a time, to get that in place and make sure that it's working properly. Copier project is done. Not without hiccups, but I'm not gonna go into those. So everybody is now over on the access systems, copiers and such. The CrowdStrike conversion has pretty much been completed. We are now completely on the state's CrowdStrike. I have about 10 machines to finish, but they have not been on, so I don't know if they're still being used. They've been off for quite a while, so they could be machines that aren't used very often or are just no longer in circulation. So health department server upgrades should be done this week or next. That will just leave us with the nursing center that would need to be upgraded. Otherwise, everything in the county has been upgraded server wise. The thing with the nursing center is they're open 24/7, which makes it a little more difficult. And then the other fact is that they have a SQL server database we have to be careful with and make sure that when we upgrade it, we don't mess something up. So that is next on our list. And then the county across the board will be technically in compliance with everything as far as servers and such go. And lastly, Windows 11 upgrades are taking place across the county. We have quite a few offices completely done. We have a few with just a couple computers left, and then we have some offices that need to purchase PCs because what they have is too old to even upgrade. So we're working through that with the individual offices now. So that's all I have right now. Any questions?
It's a lot for 1 month.
It is, but it's
Great job, thank you,
Thank you.
seriously. That's,
I was gonna say, just to tag onto that, Jasmine Sherman Holmes and I did a little test run with the microphones, and I think it'll be great once everyone's used to it. I'm pretty sure it'll be.
It's pretty simple, honestly.
It's
It's a
very-
yes or no for voting.
No wires, you can pull it as close to you as you want.
Hopefully nothing will break, right?
You won't be hearing me say, is your microphone on? So I know it won't be, or it will be with the lights.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
It's been a long time coming, be good.
maybe pull it up a little closer. Mrs. Hayes.
Just because my voice doesn't carry at all.
Fortunately, these are mobile, as you said. There's no wires, no
Yeah.
cabling. You can pull it right up to you. You can hold it in front of your face if you want to.
I don't need that. I have a theatrical booming voice that I can implement at any time that I want.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. With that, let's go to 7.6, report from strategic planning, effective government. Is there any?
Have not met since last.
Okay, very good.
So a questionnaire is going to be going out to all members of the strategic planning process in the next week or so. Asking for input on how it's gone for the first 12 months, which I pretty much know already, but making sure that everybody that's on the committees wants to remain on the committees that they are, or if they subcommittees, I should say. To try to figure out how to move forward in 2025 and beyond with that.
Very good. All right, sounds good. Forward to seeing that. All right, 8.0, there is not any old business. There's no new business. Do we have any comments from committee members? Yes.
I've brought this up in the past in other committees, just reminded because we recently had a parade. But we've got different departments around the county that could have a visual presence in parades besides the sheriff's department. And I just, considering we touch all the departments at one point or another, I'd like to encourage all the departments to figure something out. I think the more the county and the different departments, and the different responsibilities that we have can have a public eye, the better. Who doesn't go to the parade? Who doesn't get some notoriety from just being in a parade? One of the things we constantly struggle with is half of the people we are responsible for don't know that we exist. And the more we can work to counter that, the better. And I think parades and all that seem like a great opportunity. And the sheriff's department takes advantage of it. Why can't the highway department and others? Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. All right. How about 11.0 adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. In a second. Those in favor say.
All right.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's get to sign the claims.
Yes.
Oh, no, I decided.